What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So it's a new year and it's time for a new set of fragrance recommendations that I think you should consider looking into to start 2024 off right. Now, some of these are newer releases, some of these are maybe not as new but haven't been around a long time either. Maybe these are worth checking out and adding to your collection if they speak to your taste. Some great everyday options with a few that are a bit more situational, but really good stuff in my opinion nonetheless, and I'll have links to all of these down below if you're interested in checking these out. So let's talk about 10 of what I believe could be some of the best buys for you in 2024. Stay tuned. Starting with Yves Saint Laurent's newest release for men, this is called YSL Myself. So Myself is a bit of a polarizing one. Generically unique, right? Very contradictory. But this is kind of a contradictory fragrance because when you smell it, you're like, oh, that's familiar. And then you can't figure out what it smells like. Orange blossom citrus. There's a little bit of a muskiness as it dries down. You can get a little bit of a woodsy tone. The first time I smelled it, I was like, it's okay. But oh yeah, the more I smell it now, the more I spray it, the more I wear it, the more I love this fragrance and can't wait to see what they do to further this DNA, because for those of you familiar with how things work, typically when they find something that's kind of a hit, they'll make flankers, different versions, a different concentration, a nighttime, a blue, a fresh, a date, a spice, a whatever, an intense, an extreme, all these different, an elixir, all these different things. And I think they have a winner here that they could do some things with. This is an eau de parfum concentration to start off. Performance is kind of average, 6 to 8 hours range, average to slightly better in longevity. Nothing crazy in projection, about an hour and a half or so on my skin before it calms down. But definitely one that's very attractive, easy to like, apparently from the masses. My wife's a fan. Hell, the guy I was talking to at Lids not long ago, this is what he likes to wear. It's just you never know who's wearing what, but this seems to have garnered a decent amount of popularity among the masses, let alone the online fragrance community. So definitely one that's worth getting on your radar and getting your nose on because it's actually pretty good. It's YSL Myself. Now this is one of the more versatile Mancera fragrances out there. This is one you could get away with wearing every single day. It's a really good performer without being a monster. And you gotta like Vetiver, but this is an easy Vetiver. This is called Mancera's Vetiver Sensual. So Vetiver Sensual has a citrus fruity top, little bit of florals in the heart, but it's more about this slightly smoked and earthy Vetiver that has more of a woodsy tone than anything else. It's not really that dirty of a Vetiver, but there's a nice little smoked tone to it, if you will. Not quite a charred wood smell, but like I said, it offers this little bit of just a touch of smoky, earthy tone, just right to where it's not a generic, boring, fresh, woody fragrance. This has some character, this has some depth, but it's also a very easy wear, and one of those Swiss Army knife type of scent profiles. It literally works for anything, no matter how casual you dressed, no matter how formal the occasion, or how professional the occasion. Every season, this will work. Like I said, above average performance, 8 to 10 hours in longevity on my skin. Great projection for about 2 hours. And it's just easy to like. Like I said, nothing really challenging, but it does take you kind of a step or so above, kind of the designer fragrances that I would put in a similar scent profile category. This one's got a little bit better quality, a little bit better performance overall. Just a really good fragrance. Definitely worth checking out in 2024, even though it's not that new of a release. And it's Mancera's Vetiver Sensuel. Now this next one, I actually didn't spend a ton of time with in 2023, but I'm definitely going to have it in the rotation as soon as springtime rolls around, which is pretty early here in Florida. This is just a beautiful, versatile fragrance that's one of Dior's best, in my opinion. This is Dior Homme Sport 2021. So it was made in 2021, but because of the way the world was for a little while there, it didn't really ship until 2022. I'd love to get this to focus. There we go. This is a beautiful fragrance. Now, some of you will see on the internet, a lot of people compare it directly to the Dior Homme Sport 2020. And yes, this does have a similarity. The woody tone is very similar to this. But honestly, and this may sound crazy to some of you, the Sport flanker has more depth and more going on than the regular Dior Homme 2020 release. This one, you're going to get a variety of citruses with some aldehydes. Really bright, fresh, fizzy type of opening. Effervescence, if you will. Very uplifting. Intensifies the citrus, to be honest with you. More of lemon than bergamot is what I get from this. Then you have a little hint. I get a little bit on my skin because olibanum and frankincense really come to life with my natural chemistry. So I do get a little bit of an incense smoky tone, just a light in the backdrop nuance with some aromatic, slightly sweet pink pepper. It's slightly more sweet than it is spicy, the way this pink peppercorn comes across, with an LME resin that offers a creamy tone to kind of counterbalance with the sharpness of the woody notes here, because it's not a super creamy woodsy note like it has been in the past. This is a really good fragrance. Above average performance again. This one I get 6-7 hours easily on my skin, sometimes even in that 8-hour realm. Not a real heavy projector, but early on, first hour, super bright and loud. Very airy. The aldehydes really help this one push. And this is another fragrance that, even though it has sport in the name, don't think it's just some summertime freshie. This is one that you can make your signature scent and rock year round. This is a great, great fragrance. And typically every 4, 5, sometimes 6 years, 4 to 7 years is what we'll call it, Dior will reformulate their Homme Sport Flanker. This is now the 4th version. All 4 have been magnificent fragrances. I have to say all 4 have been good. But there's an argument for this being probably the best because of the depth. This is the deepest of the 4 versions, I think, that they've put out to date. And absolutely one I would encourage you, at least get that. Get out and get your nose on it. This may end up being like the pickup of the year for you. And it really doesn't get any love. It's Dior Homme Sport 2021/2022. Next is one of the best releases Lattafa put out in 2023. This is Honor and Glory in their Bade'e Oud line. This smells like pineapple upside down cake to me because you get a juicy, fruity pineapple smell. There's other things going on, but that's the most dominant note. Spices, woodiness, the turmeric kind of gives this slightly spicy tone. Oh, and a super creamy vanilla. This is so good. This is so, so good. Beautiful sillage. It's great to wear. The wearing experience is the best part. Obviously, you'll get your share of compliments. No guarantee, but this is a delicious scent that offers a lot. It really does. It's good stuff. So, so good. One of the best releases last year. And, you know, Lattafa, while they didn't put out, at least I didn't get a ton of their releases for 2023. The ones I did get were big-time highlights that were noteworthy as some of the best of the year. This is definitely one of those. There's an argument for this being their best release, possibly even their most hyped. Kamra was really good. Sublime in the same line was a phenomenal release, but this is a little bit more special, I think. Overall, I think this is going to speak to more people, and you can get it really cheap already. It's in that $28 to $32 range. Punches way above its price point. It's definitely worth checking out if you like fruitiness and you like vanilla. There's obviously some spices and woody notes in between, but if you like fruits and vanillas, you'll probably like this. Perfectly unisex. I think it's a great release to check out. It's Lattafa Perfumes Bade'e Oud, Honor and Glory. An underappreciated release in 2023. This was one of my favorite designer releases of the year. Beautiful woody aromatic fragrance. It is Givenchy Gentleman's Society. A little powdery, but also has this creamy, resinous, woodsy tone to it. I mean, the sweetness isn't overdone. It's nice and aromatic. There's a hint of some fresh spice to it. But it's dominated by a multitude of woody nuances and notes. And like I said, they kind of come across in this creamy, almost balmy-like feel. A little resinous really adds to the aromatic tone of this, but there it is. This is so good. There's even a little bit of an herbal feel, the way the sage, I'm assuming it's the sage that's doing that, because there's a little herbal tone at the top. Just such a good release. Another one, above average performance for me, 6 to 8 hour range. Nothing crazy. Some people would swear there's iris in here because it does have a little bit of that creamy, powdery smell from the other versions of Gentleman. And who knows, maybe there is, and they're just not listing it in the note breakdowns, because it very well has that kind of slightly waxy, powdery smell that you totally could think would be iris, right? Very versatile, very modern man, woody, aromatic type of fragrance because it does have these floral nuances to it. Not necessarily for everyone, I get it, but I also don't think it's that much of a challenging wear either. I think it's quite the crowd pleaser that'll kind of set you apart because it's not your typical blue fragrance, mass appealing, you know, everyday fresh fragrance wear. This is some good stuff. Definitely worth checking out in 2024. And it's Givenchy Gentleman's Society. Now this is one that I got late summer. I'm kind of waiting for the spring to roll around because I think this is a great option for spring. This is Lacoste Match Point Eau de Parfum. So with Match Point Eau de Parfum, you're going to get a dominance of this cardamom note that gives a green element to it, as well as cypriol oil, patchouli, stuff like that. They add this green element to really go with the theme of the color for the bottle, but it's also bright and aromatic, very fresh. Has a nice juicy citrus note to it, a little woodsy, but it's more of a sensual soft wood. It's more dominated by this earthy green type of soft woody feel as it dries down, but such a great everyday fragrance. If you like green woody fragrances, this is going to be your style. This is one I would encourage you to check out. This one really doesn't get any limelight because there's just so many fragrances get released all the time, especially when it comes to these mid-level designer fragrances. There's countless release after countless release, year in and year out. And I get it. Not everybody's going to like everything. Not everybody's going to want everything. Sometimes you need something special to speak to you. But this is one that, you know, if you never hear anything about, you may never think to give a shot and go out to a department store and try it for yourself. And this is one of those fragrances that I would strongly encourage you if you like green fragrances. Now, what do I mean by green? Some of you may not fully comprehend what that term actually means. You're going to get more of these herbs than anything else. So cardamom's a cooking spice, but it does offer a bit of a green element to it, but it's more of a spice overall. It can offer some minty properties. That's not the case here. Cypriol oil offers a nice earthy, woodsy tone that comes across a bit on the darker green side most of the time, as well as patchouli, depending on the oil, can be interpreted different ways: creamy, chocolatey, earthy, and leafy. Here it's a bit earthy and leafy, has that leaf smell to it. So that's where a lot of different green elements come together in this fragrance with other nuances that make it fresh, citrusy, woodsy, and so on. So performance is average, about 6 hours on skin, but definitely one that probably going to be flying under the radar. Most of you may not have heard unless you're just really into this as a hobby. Maybe check this one out in 2024. It's actually really good. I can't wait to wear it this spring. Lacoste Match Point Eau de Parfum. We're bringing out one of the big guns as far as price point. Sample first. You get a sample for like $6 in the link below. But this is one of the better releases of last year. Kind of like Tumi's version of Aventus. It doesn't completely smell like Aventus, but Tumi 19 Degree definitely gives off the vibe. And it's mainly because of the fruitiness, the leathery smell, as well as this birch water note that they have. It offers a freshwater smell with that smoky birch, smoky wood smell that birch is known for. It's weird how they encompassed it all together. There's an earthy green facet, but again, it's got a leather smell to it as it dries, this black raspberry note that offers this kind of tart, inky-like fruitiness that's not really all that sweet, but has the juicy fruit smell like a non-sweet juicy fruit smell. It's brilliant the way it worked out, because it is so good. It's tart and there's just a touch of sweetness. It's not a very sweet fragrance, very masculine, modern style. This is a great, slightly mysterious everyday wear. There's tons of freshness, but there's darker elements to this. This has a ton of character in the profile. This is such a great release from them. I have all of the releases from the house, and this is far and wide the best of the bunch for me in my taste and in my opinion. And I strongly encourage you. That's why I wanted to feature it in this video. Get a sample and try this one. Maybe it's not for you, but you know how you won't know that? If you don't try it for yourself. Because you'll probably see some hype around the internet for this one, and people automatically assume, oh, it's free bottles, or oh, you got paid, or it's just really good. Could be that too, right? So just try it. So I'm saying, spend the few dollars and try it. Don't run the risk of blind buying a bottle, because this is pricey stuff. This is over $200 before any discounts, but you have to make sure it's worth the money to you, because everybody's value is different. But for me, this one is a wonderful kind of, not quite stepping outside the box. It's kind of like walking next to the box and leaning hard against it, because it does have some similarity to Creed Aventus, but it also has its share of differences that really gives this one just a stunning profile that I think is worthy of trying. So definitely check this one out in 2024. It's Tumi 19 Degree. $17 I paid for this tester. And $17, you can get a 50 ml, like $20 or so. You can get a 100 ml with the full presentation box. I went with the tester. Luckily, it comes with the cap. That's all that matters to me with the tester. But sub $20 citrus fragrance that's totally worth getting your nose on is Bois de Yuzu from Karl Lagerfeld. So impressed by this smell. Let me get that to focus, because there we go. Because the wording's not going to pick up too well because it's such a dark bottle. There we go. This Oh man, Yuzu wood. So you do get that Yuzu citrus. You get a lot of woodiness here. There's a ginger note that adds this crisp, bright tone. Really livens up this orange and Yuzu that you're going to get in the top. This is... I'm just going to spray the hand. Why the hell not? This is such a great fragrance to sniff on. Not going to win any performance awards. Like a 4-hour fragrance on my skin. Some may get more, some may get less, some may get the same. Everybody's skin and olfactory perception is different. I've said it over and over. I'll continue to have to say it. Because you never know who's new to the channel and who's just watching their first video here. But man, for $17, one of the best cheap fragrance pickups I had in 2023. Easily. It's great for the gym. It's a great refresher out the shower. I haven't experienced it out in the summer, but I bet it's super refreshing on a hot summer's day. Oh, this is some good stuff. Like I said, woodsy, zesty, bright, crisp, spiced. Just beautiful. It's an uplifting, vibrant scent that's totally worth every penny you're going to pay for it. It's super cheap, and it's such a great bang for your buck type of citrus. So I would strongly encourage you to check this one out in 2024. It's Bade'e Yuzu from Karl Lagerfeld. Now this is one of my favorite pickups of last year, and it goes kind of in the same family of fragrances like Terre de Maison Givray. While they don't have the same profile, there's some similarity, but this is a beautiful, juicy grapefruit, bright pink pepper, hint of smokiness, fresh ambroxan, kind of... The way the musk comes across here, it's a little scratchy but very clean. There's some elegance for a freshie when we're talking about Brioni EDP Eclat. This is so good. Now, is it the most interesting scent of the 4 that are available in this line at the recording of this video? No. But it's the most wearable and the most enjoyable, in my opinion. It's the one I've spent the most time with. This is so good. It's a fresh citrus fragrance. It's a citrus musk is basically the way I would categorize it. That has depth. Pink pepper, olibanum, give it character. There's some smoky nuance there. The pink pepper adds this aromatic feel, the hint of spice. It's really, really good. It's not really all that sweet of a pink pepper. Most of the time I find designer pink pepper notes have more sweetness than spice. Here I get a little bit more spice than anything else. And it's not overrun with ambroxan. Is it synthetic? Sure. The ambroxan and musk smell definitely don't make it smell like some high-level $200, $300, $400 niche fragrance, but it just smells really good. It's super attractive. It's casual class. What do I mean by that? It has a classy, elegant, more professional feel while not being so serious and a little bit more laid back. Maybe it's that guy's day off. Maybe it's a half a day kind of thing where you're just going into work for a little while and you got some, more casual, cool, kick-back, laid-back things that you're going to do out and about after. This is that kind of day. This is that scent profile. And performance is above average, another one that falls in that 6 to 8 hour range. For being such a fresh fragrance, I think these heavier elements that are in this blend really help ground it to give it that longevity. Now, it's not going to be loud for the 6 to 8 hours, but the first hour and a half to 2 hours, you're going to get some pretty good projection out of this. I would say maybe a little bit better than arm's reach. I stand firmly behind this one. This is a recent channel favorite that I really wanted to kind of reiterate everything and encourage you guys to check it out in the new year. And that's Brioni EDP Eclat. Next, this is the definitive version of this scent profile. Even though it's not listed in the notes, I still smell that cucumber melon smell of Polo Blue with Ralph Lauren's Polo Blue Parfum. This is a year-round fragrance. It can dress up almost as well, in my opinion, as Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Just want this to focus. It's just so reflective. There we go. Such a beautiful, deep, rich blue color with this gunmetal effect. Just so good. One of the best blue fragrances ever created. Now, this is not a loud fragrance. For those of you that are looking for a beast, bro, this ain't it. Okay, this ain't it. This is more refined and subdued. This is great in a professional setting, but this is great every day for somebody that has the personality that's not looking for their fragrance to announce their presence before they can verbally announce their presence or get close enough to be in range for a visual and so on. This is the fragrance for that guy. That guy that doesn't want his fragrance to scream. He wants it to leave some room to be, discovered. That's kind of the way I would describe the performance on this. It lasts, 8 hours solid on my skin, 8-9 hours. But it's not loud. After an hour, hour and a half, it dies down pretty good. And even then, it's not super strong in projection. I would say average, maybe arm's reach for an hour or so. Standard stuff in projection. But the beauty of this is that rich, moderate to mild sillage that you get the remainder of the time when you're kind of living in your sillage. The wearing experience that you as the wearer will have is lovely. I think it's great. It's got darker nuances to it. It's kind of smoky. It's still aquatic. It's got a lot of spice to it. It's bright, but it's also warm and ambery and even a little resinous feeling as it dries down. It's a rich blue fragrance. I love it. I'm here for it. Again, I think it's the definitive version of Polo Blue. Any of you that like Polo Blue's DNA, any version of Polo Blue, this ties true to the original scent profile and does it justice and goes above and beyond, in my opinion. I think, again, like I said before, it is the definitive version of Polo Blue. Totally worth checking out if you haven't yet. Polo Blue Parfum. Well, that's the 10. Is that the only 10 I would encourage you checking out this year? Absolutely not. We've got 365 more days because it's a leap year. There's 366 days this year. Got 365 more days to talk about fragrances until we start a new year. So we've got many things to discuss throughout the year. Many more releases will come, and all the ones that interest me, I'll try to get my hands on and we'll talk about here on the channel. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. Of these 10, what have you tried? Do you agree with my assessment? Do you disagree with my assessment? All good in the hood. Let me know down below what you think. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of the 10 that I featured in this video and you give them a spray now, you'll probably end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.